So on today, I have the privilege of talking to LaToye Carter. LaToye, before we get started, I'm going to let you introduce yourself to the people. Tell them who you are and what you do.
Okay. My name is LaToye Carter. I am from Birmingham, Alabama. I was raised on the east side. But now I am a business owner. Thank God. I am a business owner. I just opened a business, and the business is desserts. So I specialize in cupcakes, cakes, all type of desserts. Also lunch items like deli sandwiches, chicken salad, just things like that. So now I'm a business owner.
I love it. Did y'all enjoy the chicken salad? Yes. So you can get that. I really loved it. I'm not big on cupcakes and stuff. LaToye knows that. Not that I'm not big on it. I do love them. But it has to be at certain times. But she has the best pound cake that I've ever tasted in my life. I love her pound cake. I will come off of my little break from sweets just for her pound cake. So please, y'all, check out Burst Dessert. Follow her on social media as well. We'll talk about that later. But we want to make sure that she's exposed and everyone knows exactly what she and her husband are doing right now. But we hear about the business. We hear about, I'm a business owner now, and I'm this, and we're having these great days of, these write-ups, and, you're getting all the lights, camera, action, right? Yes. But what people don't see the behind the scenes. They don't see the faith and all of that stuff. So this is about being fearless and fabulous, and in order to be fearless, you got to be faithful, right? That's right. So what does faith mean to you?
So faith means to me belief, firm persuasion, assurance, firm conviction, yes, faithfulness, a strong belief, like unmoving, unshaken belief in God.
Yes.
Just, something that doesn't waver, something you don't have to think about. It's just faith.
Yes. 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 And the Bible tells us that without faith it's impossible to please God. And we know that, in order for you to please God with this being this new business owner, you had to go past you, right? You had to get past all of your doubts and your fears and your insecurities, because when you launch out into the deep like that, a lot of the enemy will plant seeds in your mind and make you want to second guess and turn around because it doesn't work out, right? And so, many of you have heard my story when I launched over 14 years ago, Professional Translations. I launched my business, and in the first year we made $125. Like $125 in 12 months, okay? So that was like a slap in the face for me, because we invested like at least $6,000, could be more, right? So we were definitely in the red. And so I did not, one of the things it made, the enemy was in my ear. People were in my ear like, why did you do that? You were teaching school for 8 years. I taught Spanish for 8 years. I taught Spanish 1 through 4. I taught college level Spanish in the International Baccalaureate program, right? And so people were like, well, you got all of this going on. Why are you leaving that for this? And you got stability, all that stuff people will say to make you second guess what God has given you. And so I was like, dude, like really, it's already hard enough to do this. Right. But with you in my ear, it makes it even harder. Because now I'm second guessing God, I'm second guessing me, I'm second guessing everything. Because I'm already ain't making money. $125. One of my prayers I used to tell God to, I said, God, we got grown folks bills. Like we don't have Rudy Poo bills. I just got a whole brand new luxury car, a house built from the ground up, had a baby, and so it was so hard, And I think I shared this with you to encourage you. It was so hard, but I actually did try, and I made a thing to God. Tried to make a deal with God. I said, well, God, I'm gonna go back and teach school, but I'll do the business on the side. Like, work that out for me. So long story short, right, we're talking about faith, right? I go back to the school, and I said, I had went on this year sabbatical. I go back to the school, and I said, oh yeah, I'm going to turn in my little leave. I took a year off to do the business. I'm going to I want to come back next year. So, put me down. And the woman was like, "Oh, Miss Morissette, you missed the deadline. You were supposed to put your notice in 2 weeks ago." And I knew at that moment it was God saying, "What did I tell you? Why did you doubt me?
Absolutely.
I said that door was closed. You're not going back. So you need to go back and work this thing out. Build your faith and trust me," right? And so I repented. I cried out to God and I said, "God, I'm so sorry. I am so sorry." And I said, "Well, we need to have a come to Jesus meeting. I need to meet with the CEO of my business because things ain't flowing, things ain't working. Like if I'm going to stay here for another year, you got to shift some things in my favor, right?" And so having a business meeting with the CEO, this is talking about my challenges. We're going to go with you and your challenges in just a second. Having a business meeting with the CEO of my company, which is God, God said, "Now this is what you need to do." He gave me strategic strategies. Y'all, many of you know me, I got journals galore. I wrote down everything I heard the Holy Spirit say. And we went from 1 year of 3 figures to well over 6 figures. Just like that. It was amazing. I went from 3 languages to like 150. Right now we're at 175. There's over 6,000 languages in the world, just in case y'all didn't know. Did y'all know there's over 6,000 languages? There's over almost 7,000 languages in the world. Right now we do 175 of the main languages. And so we went from 3 figures to over 6 figures. I went from 3 languages to right now 175. I went from 3 translators to over 1,000. So it was like a faith walk, right? It was faith. So I was fearful when I saw what stared me in my face. When I saw those numbers, I had fear. But I became faithful when God said, "Get it together because this is what I called you to do." Amen. So that was my faith challenge. How has your faith been challenged in this season for as you are launching and stepping out and doing what you feel like God has called you to do?
Well, I would say I've had the same challenges. Just like you said, you see the glam, you see the news articles and all these things. I mean, my name is like everywhere on Facebook. Everybody keeps bringing that up, but you know what they don't see on the back end is that we haven't made anything. You know what I'm saying? It's really just everything going back into the business, just paying bills. Yeah, and paying bills. And people really don't realize that, and that's a faith walk in itself.
Yes.
Because God is continuing to make a way for us to do everything that we need to do. I mean, we haven't missed a beat, and I thank God every day for that.
Amen.
You know, because things could easily get behind it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I'm just so thankful that God always makes a way for me, and I'm so thankful for that.
That's so good. You know, I didn't have anybody when I launched out over 14 years ago. I didn't have anybody in my ear as a mentor or telling me. I didn't have anybody that looked like me, meaning that nobody in my family has started a business. I wasn't hanging around entrepreneurs. So I was so dumb, right? I was so ignorant to what that looked like. And it was like, I didn't understand the fact that your first year of business, you don't really make like a lot. You're mostly, making sure everything is taken care of, like she said, or just trying to keep everything afloat. And so that's what happened to me as well. So can you name a time where you almost broke and wanted to quit, and what helped steer you back in that right direction?
Well, first off, let me say, because I think it's important what you just mentioned about not having anybody to talk to you. I just want to say how God will put you in a situation to deal with things so you can mentor and minister to other people. Because really, Pastor Trish mentored me and ministered to me the entire time. And I just thank God for that. Because really, sometimes we go through, but it's to help other people too.
Yes, yes.
So a lot of the things she went through helped me with my decisions. But as far as going through, there has been so many times where I wanted to quit. But I just keep remembering what God promised me.
Yes.
This was the vision that God gave me. And I just think about, He brought me this far. How dare I even think about quitting? He's brought me this far, and I know that there's still so much to come, So I just keep that at the forefront and just not even try to, dwell on the things that, challenge me.
Yes, that's good. That's good. What has been the weight of one of your biggest fears? Like, you think about your biggest fears. What is that, and how does that weigh upon you, and how have you been able to, shake it off?
Yeah, I think one of my biggest fears is failure. Because really, I was furloughed from my job. when COVID started. So I was furloughed, and I remember just being so just distraught about that, and just really just not knowing what I was going to do, what my next steps were going to be. And God gave me the vision for the business. And a lot of people, you know, they didn't see the vision. And it's so funny now, because really when God gives you a vision, it's not for other people to see. And you have to be obedient, like you said. Obedience is better than sacrifice. So I had to be obedient to what God told me to do. And I remember a couple of days after that, God told me, he was like, you know, you cry now, but you're not going back. And I didn't know what that meant. You're not going back to that job. It's over. Mm-hmm. So, what was the question? Because I'm just
how are you able to lose it?
So failure. Yeah, so failure. So with me losing the job, and you know, and God gave me the vision to open the business. Now it's like, you know, I want this business to flourish. I want to be successful. But there's always that, you know, that feeling of, you know, what if this doesn't work? You know, what if this thing fails? And I had to just remember that God gave me the vision. Yes. So it's not going to fail. Yes. Because it wasn't something that I wanted to do. It wasn't my plan. It was God's vision the whole time. And it's manifesting. Everything that he said he was going to do, he's done it. Yes. So it won't fail because it was God.
I love it. Anybody else have a fear of failure? Marriage, life, business, ministry, just like, I just don't want to fail. You just want to be successful. So I had to deal with that because, and even with a lot of things, you know, when God challenges me to do new stuff, it's always like, oh, wait. And I instantly have to get my mind right, because if God said it, that's it. If it work, it don't work. And all things, what I've learned is that I always win. So if it doesn't work, I learn something that can help make the next thing work. Right? So in all things, my mindset is I always win. So what has been your greatest faith walk so far? We know about the business and all of that, but is that your biggest faith walk? What has been your biggest faith walk?
I've had a lot of big faith walks. But I would say, I think that really was one of the biggest faith walks for me, the business, because it's something I had never done, you know. So when you do something you've never done, you really launch yourself into the deep. You don't know what's going to happen.
Absolutely.
You really just have to have faith that no matter what happens, I know that God is going to see me through.
Yes.
So really, I mean, that has been the biggest, you know, faith walk for me, just going through this process, because a lot of people don't know there's a lot that goes into opening a business.
Yes.
It's not just, oh yeah, I got a business, you know. It's a lot of things that go into play, you know. And
business fees. And
it's
taxes.
fees and taxes and all this. You got to pay people. You got to do this. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a lot. So, you know, just even in that, you know, sometimes, you know, you get discouraged, but I try not to. I just try to just stay faithful, remain prayerful, and surround myself around people who encourage me. You know, that's another thing. You know, you got to be around the right people.
Yeah.
You know, you got to be around people that you know, make you feel like you can't do it. You know, so I'm just thankful that I surround myself with people that encourage me and, you know, just give me great advice.
Yes, that's okay. That's key. That is key. One advice that I gave her: fire your boss. Because they were calling her back, saying, okay, this is it's time to come back, you're no longer furloughed, and so that was the temptation that the enemy was bringing. It's like when God gives you a word, the enemy will always come and tempt you with a weakness. That was a weakness for her, because guess what? That was comfortability. I'm comfortable there. This is what is got the children of Israel in Egypt. In Egypt, at least I get a paycheck every week, 2 weeks. In Egypt, at least I know my bills are going to get paid. But if you tell me to go in the wilderness, to go out towards Canaan, I don't know if I'm going to have the milk and honey you say I'm going to have. And exactly how long is it going to take to get to the milk and honey? So it's like you have all of these questions when God's saying, come out of comfortability. When God says, come into your next, come into this. It's all these questions. Well, I don't know what that looks like. Been in a new relationship? Oh, I was hurt in the last one. So, I mean, at least over here, I ain't got to worry about nobody breaking my heart. I don't know who I'm talking to. But you know what I'm saying? Sometimes God will pull you out of that place. To
Yes,
take
He
you to a
will.
new place. And yes, it's going to be uncomfortable. Yes, there are questions. They are unknown. But God is the God of the unknown.
Yes, He is.
And that's where He wants you to be. Because in the unknown, you can trust the God of the unknown. So you have to recognize that's a pull from God. Yeah, you gotta get uncomfortable with God. If you're comfortable with God, so it's something you're not doing. Because with God, God always pulls and challenges you for more. He'll put people in your life to challenge you, to pull on you. He'll put an idea in your life. Something is always there to pull on you. But if you chilling like a villain, like ain't nothing, something ain't right. Because you should, when you're pursuing next level, you're never comfortable. You're never comfortable. All right, so we're gonna end on this. So, what are some words that you would leave for someone that's listening right now who's battling with their faith?
I would say trust God like never before. Like, have crazy faith. Trust Him, and don't be fearful. Don't be doubtful about whatever He's telling you to do. Be obedient to what God is telling you to do. Always remember that obedience is better than sacrifice.
Yeah.
When God tells you to do it.
Yeah.
Delayed obedience is still disobedience. If He tells you to do something today, do it today and have faith and trust that He's going to make a way.
Amen.
So it doesn't matter, what it looked like, what situation you're in, whether it's with your children, your finances, any situation. Just trust God. If it's a business, trust God.
Yeah.
Do it. Take that step. Take that leap of faith.
I love it. And so tell them how they could follow you.
Well, I am on social media, Bert's Desserts AL on Facebook and Bert's Desserts AL on Instagram. So y'all come check me out, especially if you live in this area. I'm going to take care of you.
We'll give you the address if y'all are local. Here's the address. Give me your address.
8919 Highway 119, Suite 100, Alabaster, Alabama.
Right, and that's just past the Walmart, the community Walmart shopping center off of 119. Go past the light and it's on the right, right?
Yes, it's on the right.
Awesome. Y'all give it up for LaToye Carter.